Hoffman with Westminster College here. In this video, we'll be talking about creating a sitemap for your website. So previously in our web design class, we have created a creative brief so that we can get an idea of who our customers are, what we want our website to do, what job we're hiring it for, so that we know what it's going to do when it's live. We also know how to measure exactly what it's done and if that has been a success, so we can make adjustments later. We've also worked on personas to make sure we know we can get into the head of our customer and then or user, and then we also worked on storyboards so that we can know what a user is going to do when they come to a website and get kind of an idea of what their flow is going to be. And now we're going to be talking about the sitemap. So sitemaps serve a few different purposes. The one it's going to serve for us is to actually logically create places for our content, so that we are not just randomly making up web pages and then starting to stick content into it. We're actually thinking through, based on our research and all of the thought processes we've done up until now, where that content should go onto the website and which things should go together where. This will make a little bit more sense once we actually talk about and actually demonstrate what the sequence is. So anyway, I am basing this idea off of a article I read here off of tutesplus.com. This is by James Deere and titled How to Architect a Better Sitemap, and I thought this was a really great in-depth way of doing this. Once again, this is not the only way to do this. This is starting from zero. If this is not something you've done before, this is a great way to do this. And as I've been saying with all of the stuff that we've been doing before we get into code, before we get into Photoshop, these are the most important things. This is the stuff where you're going to impress your client, whether that is your employer or that is someone who has hired you to design their website or design their book or design their poster. All of these things are going to be what creates a successful artifact, not the ability to be able to code quickly. So anyway, I like the point that James makes here on the website, where in the bold here he says it's worth getting right. This is a process that's worth doing and spending a little bit of extra time on. So what he says here is that bad habits die hard, and he makes the point that a lot of times that a website will just reflect the structure of a company, which is logical for the people who work at the company, but not necessarily logical or helpful for people who want to find out more about the company. Now that depends. If this was an intranet, if this was an internal website, maybe that makes sense, because I would know that I need to go to the drilling section of this website to get to MPD and UBD. This website here is for a oil drilling company. So somebody who does makes and manufactures and sells drills for giant companies to go out and drill for oil. So this makes a lot of sense for somebody who works there, but it makes absolutely no sense for me. Would I have any idea that, as an outside user, that cementing is under drilling? So that's the point here. Even if you go to the Westminster College website, there's a lot of stuff on there that we're not 100% sure fits together because it's been siloed by so many different departments. Maybe if we have a set of, depending on the goals that we have for a certain website, there should be different content on it. And so that's the thought process this part of the design process is going to put you through. What are the goals of the website? And we know that because of all the research we did for our creative brief. And what artifacts and what things do I have to create to actually make those goals happen? And then once you look through all of that stuff, is there patterns and things that should go together on a certain page so that you don't just stick them into random places? So Moving along with the analogy here of the, or example of the oil drilling site, next he says client goals and user needs. We've done we've done this kind of to death of trying to figure out what our goals and user needs are for the website. And it's the exact next step. We are already there. Hooray for us, high fives. And so now the next step is we take our creative brief and we start mapping content. So now you can see that here on the left in the purple bubble, there's a goal that this oil company has to build trust. Their website, they will know that they are successful if their website is building trust with their customers. Second goal that they have listed on here is they want people to buy products. They want them to actually come to the website and actually purchase things. And they also want repeat business. So they want people to come back. So people who have been customers previously are coming back and purchasing more services and products. Great goals. There will be goals, I'm sure somewhere when they have the research for this, that they have some sort of measures for these so that they know when they have built trust. They know how many products they need to sell. So, but for build trust, you see in the left-hand side with the purple bubble, that's where they have their goal. And then inside this sort of gray box, we have two green boxes that say targeted content and client case studies. So targeted content and client case studies are two types of information that this company can create that can go on their website that facilitate building trust with their customers. Having detailed specifications and appropriate media and sales agent details for sure all facilitate people buying products. If they have detailed specifications, if somebody wants to know what hole size this drill bit creates, that's going to be really important to have on that page. To have the sales agent details, who do I call when I actually want to, I've made my decision, I want to purchase this, who do I call? So some of these seem kind of like duh, of course that's what needs to be on the page, but good design comes from a lot of planning. And so going through this exercise, there will be things that come up that aren't so duh and give you some sort of insight to say, oh, you know what, I really do have to think about this. I have seen a few creative briefs and goals and whatnot and pages for websites that have come through for people who want to sell things, but they don't mention how they're going to have a shopping cart or whether their page should have products and how people are going to check out. Those are very specific things that need to be thought about, and it is sort of a duh that'll be on there, but it should be part of the plan so that you know that's something that you're going to build. It goes onto your checklist and it goes to something that you're going to remember to do. So after you've done that, and you look at the ad here for Daddy, this one, then it says forming an initial sitemap. Now this is something that tripped up a couple of people, and we spent a little bit of time with, so I wanted to make sure that it made sense here. This is, we had the advantage of having people in class, so people were able to work together on this project. It works pretty well if you have somebody else to work with to kind of bounce ideas, because this is a stage where you can be really free form with this sort of stuff. Be kind of move things around, have stuff on post-it notes, index cards works really well, little pieces of paper, whatever you like. So here you can see that these guys have decided they're going to have, still sticking with the oil company, they have their email CRM section of their website, which is where they're going to have their direct marketing emails, where they're going to have their peak season newsletter, and where they have their check-in email for VIPs. So that's all of those things together are going to go onto the email CRM part of the site. Now these don't match up perfectly with what they were talking about before, because targeted content and client case studies, that can be broken out into other things that they can do. And they've only have 3 goals right here in the initial sitemap. They've actually got like what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, something like that, 6 areas. And so they're thinking to themselves, all right, we want to make sure that we have direct marketing emails. Where should those go? Onto the email CRM portion. Peak season newsletter, that goes with email. So, but their landing pages, what sort of landing pages do they need? Well, they're going to want to have a featured oil tool, and they're going to want to have a VIP welcome back page. On their marketing site, that's where they have their tool catalogs, their white papers. White papers, that's that featured content they were talking about earlier, targeted content. Is having a white paper, and so that shows up on their marketing site. They also thought about, they wanted to have company details and oil catalog, or the oil tool catalogs, and those 3 things, they decided those 3 things fit together and should go onto the marketing site. So instead of hauling off and just creating a whole bunch of pages and then creating a page for tool catalogs and a page for white papers and a page for company details, they've thought about this beforehand and said, you know what, those 3 things we're going to bring together and put onto one page of the site. Same with the VIP area, past purchase details, targeted deals. Remember when they were talking about the up here, targeted content? Targeted content, they decided for their VIPs, they want to make sure that they have targeted deals that come back, so when the VIP comes back to their website, they know that their targeted deals are going to be something that they want that person to see immediately. The oil tool blogs, so their success stories and their technology news, these are things that are going to build trust, and that they are it's more targeted information. Articles from the blog are going to go to LinkedIn, and then they link all of these pages together. So you see that LinkedIn, oil tool, blog, VIP area, those things are all hooked together, saying that that content is going to hook to each other. Those are the things that those are ways that the pages are going to interact. So that's the next part of the exercise, is that you take the goals that you wrote here, that you wrote built trust and targeted content. So you had the goal, and then the things you're going to create to accomplish those goals. Now that you've got ideas of what those goals are and the artifacts, now you can start coming up with themes, saying, okay, I have a lot of stuff that would fit with being on an email CRM section, or it would work really well being on a landing page or a marketing site. So you can then start to do bubbles in the middle that are like, okay, my landing page is going to have these types of artifacts on them. And since you already know what goals those artifacts are going to accomplish, you don't have to worry about that again. You know that the goals are inherently inside of the content. So freeforming that, talking with other people, saying, you know what, where would this go? Is there things that fit together? Where should they go on the site? That'll give you sort of a thing that looks like this, or however you want it to look, as long as it gets across what you're thinking about how to make these pages. So then, now we have, the next part of the exercise is to take all of that information and create one of these. This is a sitemap that probably looks a lot more familiar. And this is one of the things, this is what a lot of people haul off and just start with this. But you can see, going through this process, now we actually have a logical order for what pages we need. Pages that we don't need. There's no fat in this. There's only muscle in this sitemap. There's only things that we need, and they're all in a logical order, and they're all in the place where people can find it, our users. So our tool company has At a Glance, where we work for us. All of that stuff is in one place. Buying tools, where are the tools, the complete packages, the catalogs. So there's different names for these things than what they had up in this portion of it. So, but that's okay. What they were thinking of up here were actual things, and now you have the buckets and containers of where they're going to go. So now you can think about, okay, I'm going to take all of that content that I thought about creating, what themes they are, and now what page can I create and where can those themes go under the headings of case studies, impressive statistics. So each one of these things is a page, and they have a place where they go and it makes sense. And each one of the top things there, so you have home, which is the very top of your navigation, and then each one of those other pages is a top level navigation page that has the other contents either in it, or it has another page that is from that site, that top, the sort of blue colored site on here, linked so that it has a logical progression saying where these things are going. Now I know this seems a little bit abstract, but it is something that you will see the value of after you do it a couple of times. And so it seems like a little bit of overkill for um, a simple purchase site or for a simple resume site. But the product that comes out of this is so much better because you've gone through the thought process. Even if it's mostly the same pages that you're going to put in, for these smaller sites, I guarantee you, if you do this, you'll come up with some sort of insight that you wouldn't have had you just mapped out the site from scratch. And especially working with a client, a lot of working with a client is getting out of them exactly what they mean when they tell you what they want. That's why you do all of this research and have all of this very meticulous information and thought processes and documentation that you're doing, is so that it helps avoid the religious debates that you have with clients where they start to say, oh, I like the color blue better. You can come back to your research and you can say, you know what, I love the color blue myself, but what our customers are telling us and what our research shows us is that the website should be orange. So as long as you can tell, at the end of the day, the client is always right. So if it comes down to that you've got to give it to them, you do have, that's fine, but at least you can sleep well at night knowing that you told somebody exactly the right way to do this. Anyway, so you can check out, I will get this this article posted into the Canvas site so that you can read it yourself and go through it step by step the way that James is working through this. I think, like I said, it's a great article on this. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to get into contact with me. Get these in and we'll go back and forth once again with the iterative process to see how it turns out and how we can make it better. Yeah, like I said, make sure you get into contact if you have any questions, and I hope to see you soon. Thanks.